Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings! Oh, how we live in volatile times, yet again. You may have already heard the news of Arizona GOP Chair Jeff DeWitt resigning his position after being publicly shamed for not stepping forward before Miss Lake, former gubernatorial candidate, now senatorial candidate, revealed audio of his efforts while representing powerful interests to bribe her out of running for the Arizona Senate seat. Ours is an age of revelation. What has long been speculated, ridiculed, dismissed as fringe thinking has now begun seeping into the consciousness of what is commonly known as the normie crowd, or even more derisively labeled NPCs. If you've not heard or aren't already familiar with the term uniparty, fret not. Uniparty is used to describe political actors who, despite having a political association, as for example Democrat or Republican, promoting themselves as representing that specific ideology, actually have more in common with each other than they do with any of us, the common folk. Examples could be seen in John McCain and Joe Lieberman, who publicly appeared very friendly and were praised for their willingness to cross party lines for that friendship, even though they represented different political parties. That friendliness, that level of association, is not isolated to only those two former elected individuals. Keep in mind, politics is theater for ugly people. Often heated displays reported are just that, displays. It's an act to sell to us, the masses. Once the cameras are off and the reporters have stopped reporting, these politicians resume their backslapping, congratulatory performance praising, knowing that nothing is actually going to change. That is the uniparty, the elected and unelected government officials who profit not only financially but via networking contacts which benefit themselves without regard to anything but themselves. Jeff DeWitt had the opportunity to man up and chose not to. Now he's been outed as being a unipartyist. What are the consequences for such an abysmal failure in the eyes of the uniparty? He makes reference to it in the recording about inserting his car key in the ignition accompanied by a boom sound effect. Now that his failure is complete, 24 January 2024, Arizona Republican chair resigns after Kari Lake recording is made public. The recorded conversation appeared to show Jeff DeWitt attempting to entice Lake to sit out the 2024 election for the state's U.S. Senate seat by Megan Vasquez, The Washington Post. Arizona Republican Chairman Jeff DeWitt announced his resignation Wednesday after a recording was made public that appeared to show him attempting to entice Republican Kari Lake to sit out the 2024 election for the state's U.S. Senate seat. The release of the recording came days before former President Donald Trump was scheduled to headline a fundraiser for the state party and as thousands of party activists prepared to gather this weekend for an annual meeting that will help shape the party's direction. The publication of the recording and DeWitt's resignation mark major challenges for a state Republican Party struggling to bounce back from years of tough election losses. And what happens politically in Arizona? A swing state could have broader consequences for both the presidency and the Senate majority in 2024. In the recording, published by the Daily Mail on Tuesday, DeWitt tries to dissuade Lake, who lost the gubernatorial election in Arizona in 2022 and has served as a surrogate for Trump in this election cycle, from seeking a Senate seat in 2024. He suggests she instead run for governor again in 2026. There are very powerful people who want to keep you out, but they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So this conversation never happened, DeWitt says in the recording. He later continues, so the ask I got today from back east was, is there any companies out there or something that could just put her on the payroll to keep her out? Lake responds, this is about defeating Trump, and I think that's a bad thing for our country. In another portion of the exchange, DeWitt says, just say, is there a number to which Lake interjects, I can be bought? That's what it's about. You could take a pause for a couple of years. You can go right back to what you're doing, DeWitt continues, but Lake repeatedly rebuffs his offers, saying it is not about money, it's about our country. DeWitt, in a statement Wednesday, accused Lake of releasing a selectively edited audio recording of a one-on-one conversation that took place more than 10 months ago inside Lake's home. He also claimed that he received an ultimatum from Lake's team to resign Wednesday or face the release of a new, more damaging recording. The recording that was made public, he said, is not only taken out of context but also undermines the integrity of private discussions critical for party leadership. He also states that he was employing Lake at his private company when the conversation occurred. The ethical breach in her recording of our conversation while Lake was my employee raises serious legal and moral concerns. This act of recording was not just a betrayal of trust, but also a violation of the fiduciary responsibilities of an employee. Contrary to accusations of bribery, my discussions were transparent and intended to offer perspective, not coercion, DeWitt said. In a live stream on Rumble on Wednesday night, Lake confirmed that she previously worked with DeWitt while she was a communications advisor for Feed Me, but she denied DeWitt's assertion that he was her supervisor. In his statement, DeWitt accused Lake, who launched her Senate campaign in October, of being on a mission to destroy him since he advised her to postpone the congressional bid and aim for the governorship. I said things I regret, but I realized when hearing Lake's recording that I was set up, said DeWitt, who became chairman of the state party in January 2023. I believe she orchestrated this entire situation to have control over the state party, and it is obvious from the recording that she crafted her performance responses to portray herself as a hero in her own story. Lake's campaign called the recording an attempt to bribe the Senate candidate, adding in a statement that Lake rejected DeWitt's multiple attempts to offer her money and corporate board seats in exchange for Kari not running for public office. The campaign also denied threatening or blackmailing DeWitt, stating, "It is unfortunate that DeWitt hasn't recognized how unethical his behavior was and still hasn't apologized to Arizona Republicans. DeWitt's false claims are just par for the course. The Arizona GOP must be relieved to have his resignation. Now we can focus on getting ethical leadership and win big in 2024. In her live stream Wednesday night, Lake said she doesn't know who was behind the attempt to bribe her. "I don't know. I wish I did know," she said. DeWitt's exit marks the second time in less than a month that a Republican Party state chair has left the position after being embroiled in a scandal. Florida's Republican Party removed its chairman, Christian Ziegler, from his job earlier this month after he was accused of raping a woman who had previously engaged in a three-way tryst with him and his wife, Bridget. Christian Ziegler denied the allegations, and Sarasota police last week declined to file rape charges against him. But the cell phone video Ziegler took of the encounter led police to forward a probable cause affidavit for video voyeurism, a third-degree felony, against Ziegler to the Sarasota County State Attorney's Office.